Hey everyone, welcome back to my second Sketch With Me video. Today I decided to sit down and practice drawing some hands. Towards the end of the video, I'll summarize some key takeaways I got from this mini sketching session. In my previous video, I briefly talked about how I had a lot of trouble with drawing hands, and I still feel like I haven't gotten much better at it since then. Improvement doesn't happen overnight, but my goal is that hopefully after today, I'll feel a little more confident about drawing hands. So grab your sketchbooks, tablet, pencil, crayon, lipstick, whatever you use to draw, and let's get started. Hand number 1. I decided to sketch a basic open hand because it's pretty straightforward and there aren't any perspectives or weird angles or depth related stuff to worry about. When drawing, I think guidelines are incredibly helpful, especially for drawing hands. The average hand usually has the middle finger as the longest, and I think the index and ring fingers are kind of the same length. Okay, this is really weird, but I checked my hands just now and my ring finger is quite noticeably longer than my index finger. Is it like that for you guys too? For hand number 2, I went with a fist. Basically, I started out with a big shape and then drew the thumb because for me the thumb is the second most simple part of the hand to draw in terms of its shape. And lastly, I went in to sketch out the fingers. For the fist, I'd recommend drawing a guideline along where the joints are when you bend your fingers over, because they tend to kind of line up. Okay, now the third hand. I went with drawing a thumbs up because it's also a pretty common hand gesture. This one was pretty simple. I start out with the palm and then 4 small rectangles to kind of guide out where the fingers would be, and then finish with the thumb. Okay, the fourth hand was really challenging. The reference photo kind of made it look like the photo was taken slightly below eye level, but the thumb was protruding outwards, like towards the camera, and I don't know. It was confusing. I didn't really like how this one turned out, and honestly, I didn't like how most of my hand drawings turned out, like the 4 I've drawn so far, and then the remaining 16 I'll be drawing in the future. But that's okay because we're not chasing perfection here. We're here to practice and set the bar low so that we can see greater improvement in the future. I sped up the footage for the next 2 hands, but basically hand number 5 was shaped kind of like a claw and hand number 6 was another fist, but this time it was angled to look like you're throwing out some punches. Okay, so I haven't studied anatomy yet, so I don't know the proper terminology, but on the palm, there's this rounded part that connects directly to the thumb, and on the other side of the palm there's another groove edge area that connects to the pinky finger, and with these two and the top of the palm kind of connect to form a triangle in the center, which then can be used as another guide to better understand the direction or the shape that your hand will be taking. I didn't describe it that clearly, but hopefully the video can kind of help you understand what I was trying to say. Hand number 8 was also really whack at first because the fingers ended up way too long. I had to erase and re-sketch it several times, and during this part, I really missed my iPad and just being able to move things around, use my undo button, liquify, and all these great tools that digital platforms provide. But after a couple of tries, I was pretty satisfied with how it turned out. Hand 9 has a prop. I drew the bottle first so that I could have the object there and use it as the guide to see how the fingers would bend around and where the fingers would go to. It's pretty simple and straightforward. The thumb on hand 10 was supposed to look like it was sticking out towards the camera. I used little circles to create a guide for the thumb. Honestly, I kind of turned my brain off for this one. I just tried my best to follow the reference. For hands 11 to 19, I basically did more reference studying by breaking down the hand into shapes, creating guidelines, and trying to find the negative space to make sure my hand looked as close to the reference as possible. So around hand 18 and 19, I realized I was running out of space because I found random references to use while I was sketching and I didn't have a layout in mind for the sketchbook page. But that was okay because I managed to squeeze hand 20 in the center. I drew a peace sign in celebration of finishing this little sketching session. So to summarize how I draw hands, I usually start out with a trapezoid shape for the palm, and then a thumb that curves outward, and then draw the arc lines for the fingers. Each finger can be divided into 3 chunks, with each one getting slightly slimmer towards the tip of the finger. Fingers are also kind of trapezoid shaped, so you can use that as another form of guide. And I just got a red pen to emphasize the palm shape and the 3 parts for the fingers that I just described. And that's all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching until the end and for supporting me and my little channel these past couple months. It's been really fun making videos. Leave any questions in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and stay notified for my next video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!